Adventures on Sodor, Episode 8, A New Year's Eve Night's Dream. Arthur had had a long day. He was too tired to go back to the shed. He was just about to fall asleep when he heard Gordon and Henry come near. They were talking excitedly about the new decade. "Hey guys," called Arthur, "what's this about a new decade?" Gordon smiled to himself.
"You mean you don't know?" "No," said Arthur. "Well, just like we celebrate the New Year every 365 days, every 10 years we celebrate the new decade." "That sounds great," said Arthur. "It really isn't," said Gordon. Henry chimed in after catching on. "Every decade a lot of changes happen. Almost every decade an engine is retired. I'm afraid that this year might be both Edward and Duke, and the railway doesn't have enough money to preserve both of them." Henry and Gordon hurried away, laughing to themselves. Arthur was worried. He liked both Duke and Edward very much. He thought about what could be done, but soon he fell asleep. He awoke as his fireman was putting coal in his firebox. "Why are we up so early?" asked Arthur. "What do you mean?" replied his driver. "We have to take our normal train to Wellsworth Station." Arthur was confused. "Don't you mean Edward's station?" His driver frowned. "We haven't called it that since Edward was scrapped over 3 years ago." Arthur gasped. He wondered if he had misheard Henry, and a decade meant that he actually skipped 10 years into the future. Worried about what he would hear, he asked his driver, "How's Duke doing?" "The last I checked," said his driver, "he was really enjoying his life in the museum." Arthur was relieved. He was glad one of his friends had been preserved. But he was still sad about Edward as he puffed away.
When he got to the yard, he groaned. At the front of his train was Scruffy. But to Arthur's surprise, he was greeted warmly by the truck. "Scruffy!" exclaimed Arthur. "You're certainly feeling chipper today." "What do you mean by calling me Scruffy?" he asked. "You know perfectly well that since I went to anger management 3 years ago, I go by SC." Arthur was astonished. Maybe his new future wouldn't be so bad after all. Cheerfully, Arthur was coupled to the train and sauntered out of the yard. That afternoon, Arthur was resting in the shed. His driver arrived. "We have to go pick up some trucks from Vickerstown Station," he said. "Diesel was supposed to take them, but he broke down." Arthur hurried out of the shed. At a crossing, Arthur encountered Bertie, who asked where Arthur was going. "I'm off to Vickerstown," said Arthur. A frown came over Bertie's face. "Be careful," he said. "What do you mean?" asked Arthur. "Well, you know," said Bertie. "Ever since Sir Topham Hatt sold the railway around Vickerstown, it's been very dangerous for steam engines around there." Arthur became worried. "Goodbye, Bertie," he said. "Good luck," came the reply. As Arthur made his way down the line, he became more and more nervous. He saw something in the distance, so he applied his brakes. It turned out to be Diesel on a flatbed. An unfamiliar engine was coupled to it with his back turned to him. "Hello, Arthur," said Diesel. "I've been waiting for you. I'd like you to meet my boss." From behind, Arthur could feel an engine coupling up to him. He screamed. Arthur opened his eyes. There was Edward in front of him. "Hurry up," said Edward. "You're going to be late." Arthur realized all at once that he had been dreaming. He recounted the tale to Edward as his fire was lit. Edward laughed. "You've been duped." He puffed away. Arthur realized that he should be more wary of Henry and Gordon in the future.